Okay, so predicting products from a general statement about reactivity, you kind of just have to read the question, and sometimes it's going to trick you with things like knowing what a halogen is, for example. So sort of know your way around the periodic table, etc. Okay, be able to name compounds from their formulas and vice versa. So if you've been given the name of a compound, you can write the formula. Make sure you can write the balanced chemical formula for an ionic compound. Make sure it's charged, neutral, etc. Okay, so ammonium salts heated with aqueous hydroxides form ammonia, water, and a salt. Okay, so ammonia we know is NH3. Don't forget your state symbols. Okay, NH3. Assuming this whole thing is occurring in water, because the ammonium and the potassium the ammonium nitrate and the potassium hydroxide are both aqueous. So I'm going to make a little assumption there. Water should be H2O liquid because it can't be dissolved in itself, right? And then a salt is defined as an ionic compound usually formed from a neutralization reaction. Salt equals ionic compound formed from a neutralization reaction usually. So usually the cation is coming from the base, it's the counter cation to the hydroxide or whatever. And the anion is usually coming from the acid, okay? Not always the case, right? But approximation. So we've got to think about what kind of ionic compound you could form from what's left over. Okay, so we know that the oxygens, nitrogens, and hydrogens are involved in this, but I can see that potassium cation is sitting there doing nothing. And this nitrate anion, when this NH4NO3 breaks apart, I'd expect it to break apart into the NH4 plus cation, the ammonium cation, and the nitrate NO3 minus anion. Okay, and we know that potassium is our cation that's associated with the hydroxide here. Okay, so I am going to predict that the potassium would form a salt with a nitrate, and the formula of that would be KNO3, and it should be aqueous because nitrates are always soluble. So if you're not sure if a salt's soluble or not, there are solubility tables you can look at. Okay, so is this balanced is the question. Okay, so potassium, nitrate, NH4. Yeah, that's balanced. Okay, so that would be a balanced chemical equation coming from that. And that's all we need to do for that. So I'm just going to flick through a few because there's actually quite a lot of these. That's the same. All right, carbonates decompose upon heating into oxides and carbon dioxide gas. So you've got to know what a decomposition reaction looks like. What kind of oxide would we end up with? Well, an oxide's got to have a countercation, so it's going to be calcium oxide, okay, is what we're going to have. So calcium is a 2+ cation and the oxide ion's O2-. So the formula of calcium oxide is going to just be CaO, okay? And oxide, we just expect that to be a solid, room temperature and pressure. And then the other thing we were told we had is carbon dioxide gas. So is that balanced? Yeah, it's already balanced. No balancing required. Okay. What else have we got then? Oh, okay. Strong acids can be neutralized by metal oxides in a typical acid-base reaction. Okay. So an acid-base reaction, then this metal cation is going to form a salt with the anion component of the acid, which is the nitrate. Okay, so that is going to form is a 1-to-1 ratio. It's got to be potassium nitrate. So always like pick the formula of the salt first. Nitrates are always soluble. What's left over? Well, the hydrogen is going to form come together. So what you have in any neutralization reaction is the H+ cation and the hydroxide anion combining to form water. So that is literally what a neutralization reaction is. Is it balanced? No, because you've got 2 potassiums over here. So I'm going to put that 2 in front of here, which means I'm going to need a 2 in front of the nitric acid. Is that balanced now? 1 + 6, 7. Yeah, that's balanced. Okay. So don't forget your state symbols. K2O solid plus 2 HNO3 AQ gives 2 KNO3 AQ plus H2O liquid. Okay. All right, so most of the time it's going to tell you in the question exactly what the reactants and products are, but you may have to kind of sift through that information to sort of work out which is which, and you probably have to write formula of ionic salts, etc. All right, get some practice.